Well, good hump day morning, friends. Mark Holmes here for my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. So let's get open for business and let's wake up the football gods. I hope everybody's doing great on this hump day. The Dallas Cowboys get back on the practice field, getting ready for the Los Angeles Rams. And I don't know about you, but it is exciting as can be for me right now to be where we are, 3-1. You know, there is the ups and downs of the season, okay? And at some point the shoe is going to drop. And we're going to have a bad stretch of games. We're going to go back to fire, everybody and Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones and screwed up. You know that's coming. Right now, you get a couple of wins, you start feeling great and stuff. But there's going to be bad patches here, okay? And with the Rams at 2-2, who would have thought that the Cowboys having to play Cincinnati, play Tampa Bay, and then two division games where they said that both teams were improved, would be having a better record than anybody in the NFC West. That's actually pretty freaking cool at the moment. And I would say we are actually playing with house money right now. And the reason I say that is this. The NFL's kind of messed me up because they had that 17th game. It was nice when everything was divisible by 4. 16 games divided by 4 is 4 quarters, which is kind of like a game. But the way I like to look at a season is this. You break down it into 4-game sections, okay? What you need to do is you need to have 2 of those sections where you go 3-1. And if you go then the other 2 sections, at least 2-2, 500, then that gets you to 10 wins. You got 1 extra game in there. You could actually be 11-6. I'm sorry, 11-5. 11-5? No, 11-6, excuse me. 11-6 or 10-7. 10-7 should get you to the playoffs. And right now, without Dak Prescott for 3 games, we're 3-1. Going through the next 4 weeks, let's look at that next quarter. We've got, of course, on the road with Los Angeles. With the Rams, the good thing about that is there's a big Dallas Cowboy base in California. Hence, we go to Oxnard. You should actually have a lot of fans out there that are hungry for the Cowboys that'll be there, hopefully. And maybe that'll give us a little extra. Right now, looking at the Rams, and I should have had this set up. I've got to get on the road this morning. The Rams are having all kinds of problems this year. Now, they've played, of course, Buffalo, and, of course, they play the 49ers. Those things will definitely hurt your season. But when you start looking at the statistics of where they are ranking-wise, right now their pass rush is terrible. They're not getting after the quarterback like you would think. And for their defense is the 18th scoring defense. 16th in yards. They have been getting the ball. They've gotten 7 takeaways. But take a look at their offense. They're 29th in offense points. 29th. Not that we're great. I'm not saying we're great. Not saying we're great. But we're doing actually more. Matthew Stafford, put this in perspective, Matthew Stafford in 4 games has the same number of touchdown passes as Cooper Rush. But add to that 6 interceptions. So take Cooper Rush, who's got 4 TDs this season in 3 games. Matthew Stafford has 4 TDs in 4 games. Cooper Rush has 0 interceptions. 0. Matthew Stafford has 6, including 2 pick sixes, which ties him for 3rd all time in pick sixes. The numbers for the Rams are not looking very good at the moment. And I'll go into Matthew Stafford in another video later on. But and I'm not saying that the Rams aren't a good team that can't turn around, because every week the NFL is a week-to-week league. We're just going by what has happened the first 4 games. And the first 4 games of Matthew Stafford, who is dealing with tendonitis in the elbow, which is not something that's going to get better while you're still using it. It's going to be rough. A multitude of his weapons are injured and out. He's got Cooper Kupp, who's, getting the lion's share of the passes and things, but it's been more of a dinking and dunking situation. It really has been a dinking and dunking situation. So you have a chance in this game. This is not what we looked at, when the experts were going through with Adam Rank saying the Cowboys would be 3-6 the first 9 games. They, of course, looked and they said, oh, the Rams, they'll lose to the Rams. Oh, they'll lose to Tampa. Oh, they'll lose to the New York Giants. Oh, they'll lose to the Bengals. Well, we'll have to wait and see. But at the moment, the Cowboys are looking okay. So who knows? If we lose that one, okay. Then, of course, we have a division match where we have not lost in our division in the last, I know it hasn't been the last 8 games. It's been not last season and not this season. You have a big game at the Link, huge game at the Link. Even if we were to lose both of those games, we follow up with the Lions and the Bears. So worst case scenario, you should end up at least 2-2 in this section, which would get us to 5-3. 5-3 through the first half of the season, I'll take that. That's better than the experts said. And with also saying that, I look at this and say, Dak Prescott is still having issues gripping the football. We've already said he's out versus the Rams. I don't know that there should be a rush to get him back out on the field, because I look at this and say, right now we're being efficient. We've got our defenses playing really, really well. And I want to be sure that thumb is 100% before we put it back out there. There's not a sense of urgency where you say, we got to get you back out there, the season's lost. Even if we lost the next 2, we'd be okay. It's not ideal, but we'd be okay. So I would say I would wait till week 7, Detroit Lions, before Dak Prescott comes back. So I want to go to my buddy Rich Eisen. Rich Eisen, who they're trying to figure out what should the Cowboys do about Dak Prescott.
Hey, man. Jerry said to Cooper Rush, put me in a position where there's a quarterback controversy. And when that statement was made, you said, you're the one, you and Mike Hoskins, our CP, you guys got in my ear and saying, hey, Jerry just said there's, Cooper Rush, he's invited him to start a quarterback controversy. And I interpreted that to mean there's no chance Dak doesn't get this job back, no matter how many games in a row Cooper Rush wins. That Jerry's basically like, hey, Cooper, I would love it if you win so much while Dak is out that you create this conversation in the media because, A, love being talked about, B, love winning. I might proffer to say Jerry loves winning more than being talked about, and that's saying a lot, I think.
I don't know about that one.
And so
he's done a lot of winning.
And so Cooper Rush has won, and the season I thought that was in dire straits, not so much right now. Not so much right now. And they're coming out here to Los Angeles to take on the world champion Rams, and what better way for, this season to be proven coast to coast is not even not lost, but can be seriously won. Who's the starter? Dak had his stitches taken out last week. You see him doing some light practicing and things like that, but, you need more than freshly healed, surgically repaired hands and light practices when you're going up against Aaron Donald. And a team that, did get beat in San Francisco, Santa Clara last night, but did show, they have some physical chops. They do.
I mean, not last night they didn't show that.
They showed that they can hit you. You don't think so?
I didn't really watch the game, but from everything I saw, it seemed like they got handled yesterday.
They got handled in the red zone, and then they made too many mistakes.
But they're the Super Bowl champions.
They made too many mistakes.
They couldn't block anyone. I mean,
well, up front they got a problem. What do you think that
Nick Bosa.
You think the Rams have a problem of being, that they're too finesse? I don't know about that.
I think the Rams aren't going to make the playoffs.
Well, I think you're wrong about that. I'll take that. Sold. That said, here was Jerry Jones today about Dak Prescott's readiness and Cooper Rush's starting gig.
Well, I know that it's better, and I know that he's going to go out there every day and make progress toward being able to grip the ball. I don't know that you could ask for better news. Technically, physically, and how it's responding, how it's healing, so to speak. And so all of those things are on go, and I don't know that as we go bid bye to each day, if considering the injury, considering the location of the injury, I don't know that you could make any more progress. And there's some things here about healing that, again, I often say only the man upstairs knows how that works.
Right.
But he'll have a big week, and he'll be hard on himself getting it ready to go.
Is he able to grip the football now?
No, not well enough to play.
All right, 105.3 The Fan right there.
Surprise. Tell us something different,
right
Captain
So it's going to
Obvious.
be Cooper Rush this week, I think. I mean, if he's saying on Tuesday that he can't grip the football well enough to play, it's Cooper Rush against the Rams. And then if you wouldn't mind putting up the Dallas Cowboys schedule, Mr. Hoskins, when you get that ready, let me put my glasses on as well so I can peruse my color-coded schedule here. I would say let him go against the Rams. And then you got a Sunday nighter against Philadelphia. I don't know if I'm not saying Dak loses his gig. Okay? I'm not saying that. I'm saying what is the rush if he still has trouble gripping a football right now and Cooper Rush is not making mistakes and you're on a nice little roll?
Every game that Cooper wins buys Dak some extra time, right?
Is money in the bank.
If Dak going in, Dak was going to be out 6 games, we thought. When you've broken your thumb and you need surgery on the spot, right?
Yeah. I think I changed to 4 immediately.
4 to 6. Let's just give him the end of the 6. He's already made that 6-game stretch no worse than 500. No worse than 500. Now, the division might be difficult to win with the Eagles playing the way they're playing, and you're going to lose the next 3. Certainly since one of the next 3 is against Philadelphia. And that, if Cooper Rush beats the Rams this week, the next game is against Philadelphia in front of the whole country.
For the division.
And they're going to have a tough decision to say, is Dak coming back right now, 1 week removed from not yet being able to fully grip the football, the best move we could make by going into Philadelphia against this defense marauding the way it is? And then if you decide we're going to give Dak some more time, there's home games against Detroit and Chicago.
There you go.
Winnable.
Well, I guess you could say that, but Detroit does put up some points.
I'm just saying they're all winnable games.
But Detroit is a defense that if you want a soft return for your quarterback, that's not a bad one.
Bingo.
And then you get him going against Chicago as well, and you get some good momentum for Dak going into the bye.
And then you're 5-3 at worst case.
That's it, Dak. We'll see you after the bye because we're at Green Bay there. And then we're at Minnesota, and then we're on Thanksgiving against the Giants before a Sunday nighter against Indianapolis.
The Rams,
I mean,
that's 4 in a row. Like, what's the rush?
That's what I'm saying.
What's the rush?
That's why I said every win Buys Dak some extra time on his back.
I think it should.
Cooper Rush could go 6-0 into the bye week.
I know, and then you would be part of the group that thinks Dak shouldn't get his gig back.
I absolutely would be.
But there's a $40 million contract that says he does.
What does Jerry care about $40 million? He cares about winning football games.
Yeah, but Dak is your guy. It's that simple. And
by the way, Tony Romo was his guy too.
Tony Romo was at the end of his career with a back injury, not some surgically repaired hand.
Man.
Yes, he
Come
was.
on. Tom Brady's 45. Tony Romo
doesn't mean that everybody's going to be able to play till 45. There's been one guy.
There's a bunch of guys in their late 30s right now playing football at a pretty good level.
Okay, well, that's not 45,
but
though,
Romo wasn't under contract,
Tom Brady
and it wasn't as young as Dak. And if I'm Jerry, I'm sitting here thinking that Cooper Rush is playing like this. Dak can absolutely play like this. As a matter of fact, not only can Dak play like this, but Dak can give me rushing touchdowns. Dak can give me 300, 400-yard games.
Can he? Can he give you rushing touchdowns?
He can. He has. He can if you call it and you want to call a game like that.
We haven't really seen it since he has been injured.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what his game log information is from last year, but I proffer to say he did return last year and have some rushing touchdowns. He can do it. Mm-hmm. You can have some games inside the 5-yard line where he's taking it in. I mean, I'm Jerry Jones. I'm like, I paid him $40 million a year, and I love Dak, and he's been a face of my franchise. And I see Cooper Rush playing like this, and I can see Dak playing like that.
Dak has 25 rushing touchdowns on his career. He's had 6 rushing touchdowns the last 3 seasons. So yes, he can.
No, I mean, I'm not saying that's a hallmark feature of his game.
No,
but
he said that you can't. When have you seen him?
I know
rush
that.
touchdowns?
When have you seen it since he was injured? He had 1 rushing touchdown last year.
I'm just. Again, guys, I don't want to get caught too.
Last year, he was still recovering from it.
He can give.
And he threw 37 touchdown passes. I'm okay with him not running it.
You know, I don't see Dak sitting as Cooper Rush is going on a Super Bowl run.
Cooper Rush is 6-0, and you're going to say back to the bench, bro.
Yeah, that's what you do because that's his job. It's your job to win games when Dak can't go. That is your job.
Nick Foles won the Super Bowl.
Bledsoe had a $100 million contract.
I know.
Nick Foles won the Super Bowl, and they said back to the bench.
Also look at what Drew Bledsoe was becoming, and he saw what Brady was doing. How about that?
I don't know.
Dak had 4,400 yards passing and 37 touchdowns last year. Like what?
Exactly.
What are we even?
I know.
This isn't a real discussion. I'm sorry, it's not. It's not a real discussion. Cooper Rush is doing his job. That's your team is very big on it. Do your job. His job is to stand up for the starter. Dak's the starter. He's going to get his job back. Why?
His job is to keep it afloat. And he'll be in first place.
Well, again, like I said, we'll see.
Well, that's keeping it afloat.
The Rams, and it is a week-to-week league, and I think this is Cooper Rush's week again, and we'll see what it looks like against the Rams. If it looks as efficient and successful as it has looked in his first 3 starts, with Dak being on the shelf, then they will have a fascinating decision for a Sunday night game in front of the whole country. Against Philadelphia and Jalen Hurts and their main competitor, with all due respect to the Giants, but they've already gotten that road win against the Giants. They've already won in the Giants' house. That's a huge W for this team moving forward. And they'll have a decision to make. And also, you'll know Dak is working his ass off, and he'll be pushing inside that building. And for them to say to Dak, patience, will be a heck of a week next week.
If he were to beat the Eagles and the Rams.
Then you say to him, Cooper Rush, thanks for your job. Thanks for doing your job. Dak is the quarterback of this team, as you know. And here come the Lions and the Bears, and you get Dak a nice head of steam going into the bye because Dak is.
There you go. And I'll remind you guys, Nick Foles won the Super Bowl. The Eagles said, great job. Here's a statue for you. Carson Wentz is our quarterback. Maybe they made a mistake on that, but Nick Foles never was much else after that. He went on a magical run with the Eagles at that time, but the rest of the time, he was basically just a backup quarterback. So that's where we are, guys. I got to hit the road this morning, got to go down the country. But, any news on the Dallas Cowboys, we will be bringing it to you because that's what we do here. And as always, you know how we roll. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report.
One hell of a job, and the only thing else I got to say is, how about this?
Yeah.